I was trying to make it sound natural and get you into a conversation.
Yeah, and I'm just like... You gotta love it when he just doesn't tell you what's going on.
We gotta have an intro, and then we can jump right back in. But Disney adjacent for you has been Dreamlight Valley.
Yes.
For the Nintendo Switch.
I caution anyone who starts playing that game. Your Switch might die on you, and then you'll lose all your progress.
So we'll be getting Nintendo Switch Online and backing that up.
So the 10 hours that I have played so far...
Not too bad, though.
...has amounted to nothing.
You got good practice. But the shop that was trying to repair our Switch had Lorcana cards in stock, which is exciting for me. I didn't buy any. I'll get to it.
Okay. But that was really exciting.
Yeah, that was exciting. Are you all geared up for our next Disney trip with this Lorcana? Did it fire you up, or...
Are you talking to me? I'm so lost.
So having played hours of Dreamlight Valley, are you more excited for our upcoming trip or less excited?
You said Lorcana.
Did I say Lorcana?
Yes.
I can't keep that in.
And I was just like, I have no idea. Dreamlight Valley, I don't know if it has to be more excited for Disneyland this next trip. It is Lunar New Year coming up. So it is a much different focus this time around. Like, it's Disney, but there's Lunar New Year. But I don't know if Lorcana has helped bridge the gap to our next trip.
Lorcana has bridged the gap to our next trip?
Did I just say it now?
Yeah. We got to get some Lorcana up in here.
Dreamlight Valley.
All right. Let's get Lorcana and Dreamlight Valley.
To all Disney adults and morbidly curious casuals, we proudly present our spectacular festival pageant of theme park ramblings and peculiar opinions in thousands of seconds of average quality sounds of Mice and Matterhorns podcast.
I had to redo the intro because somebody turned the knob all the way up, so the volume was going to blast through the roof when I edited
Someone,
this later.
huh?
I think it was a child. This was on the ground, which was weird. And we did have people over fairly recently. We're on part 2 of our Disneyland trip. Recap.
Well,
yeah.
Can you call it part 2, or would you call this part 4?
Oh, well, okay. Was it part 4 or 3?
Well, there was Thanksgiving. There was California Adventure. There was our second day at Disneyland. And now this is our third day at Disneyland. Our 5th total day in the Disneyland parks.
6th total day in a park. And just looking at my notes, our kids were real tired this day.
Yes, because Daniel's saying 6 because that includes Universal, which is our next episode. So we had 6 park days, which I will never do again without a break day in there.
So I don't remember how this day started.
I do.
Necessarily. Oh, wait, hold on. I do too.
I made us all go in Disney Christmas outfits.
This was our Christmas day. That's right. So I had my bucket hat on, which didn't last the whole day because it was pretty warm.
So describe your bucket hat.
I have a Mickey Mouse bucket hat. Thank you,
our friend Carrie,
for picking it up the last time she was at the park because it was selling out fast. But it is a Santa Claus style hat with a white brim and the red faux, velvet. And it's got Mickey Mouse ears on tops. It's got Mickey Mouse ears on top, and along the white brim, there's a little piece of holly embroidered in there. And I love it. And it's very toasty, which is great for here, but not super conducive for Southern California.
And then you were in your Christmas spirit jersey from last year.
Yes, the one you got me for Christmas last year.
Yep. And then I was in my Santa Mickey spirit jersey that I bought last year. And then our boys were in little Mickey Mouse sweatshirts that I got at Kohl's that were like Mickey and Friends, and they were in the shape of a Christmas tree.
You were significantly nicer looking than all of us. You had a nice red Christmassy skirt on. I mean, it was a red skirt, but reminded me of old-timey Christmases. Your spirit jersey was that cream and gold. You looked great. Your hair was done. You had lip stain on, and then there was your ragtag bunch, including a husband in a fuzzy bucket hat. So that was our Christmas.
And I had my ears that you bought me last year, the Bauble Bar ones.
That's
the
right.
Christmas ones.
And those are fancy too.
Yes.
They're like pearl and
I moved. There's like a pearl holly, gold holly.
Holly leaf or something.
What do you call it? embellishment on the front. And as known with a lot of Disney ears is they can sometimes be too low. And so they dig into your head. And so last year when I wore them, they hurt my head. So I didn't wear them much. So I know how to sew. So I was a little nervous to do this, but I snipped
this is
all the
incredible to me.
stitches
I can't believe this.
on the embellishment, and I moved it up so that it wouldn't dig into my head. And I sewed it back on. No one would know, and it was much more comfortable to wear.
See, that's something I would have tried when I was 6, only I'd have snipped it, and that would have been the end of it, and I would have panicked and then cried. Yeah. That's crazy to me that you can do that and fix it. So, pretty cool.
So we entered the park, again, not at rope drop, and we saw Belle. So our oldest was thrilled because he had his autograph book, and he got his autograph and a picture with Belle.
And that was in front of the Mickey Mouse floral arrangement, right?
Yeah, which did we ever get a picture in front of it this time? I think we missed it every time.
Busy.
And we headed to Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, and our oldest was not happy about that.
No, but Pirates had been getting a really long line later in the day, and it was 15 minutes. And I was like, I am not going to wait any longer than 15 minutes for Pirates.
And I really wanted to. Like, I was at the point where I would have been bummed out if we missed Pirates this entire trip, because I enjoy that ride a lot.
And I don't remember a ton else that we did.
Did we get breakfast after that? Because so for breakfast, I have that we got Red Rose. We went to the Red Rose Tavern, got a pancake breakfast and a breakfast feast. And I think the three of us and our youngest, split it.
Yes.
Because our oldest, again, is pretty picky about some of this stuff. So I think we packed in something for him, or I grabbed him something at one of the convenience stores.
It looks like we bought him an apple juice.
We bought him an apple juice.
And he did bring in his wish sipper again. Oh, and we got a picture of all of us in our Christmassy outfits where Jack and Sally had their
meet and greet.
Oh,
I forgot about that. That was outside Pirates of the Caribbean, sort of in between the two gift shops, the Haunted Mansion gift shop and the Pirate one, which that Haunted Mansion gift shop, I assume that's going to be moved. I mean, they're opening another Haunted Mansion gift shop when they redo the line next year.
Yeah.
But I imagine that shop's going to move locations, and maybe they'll do something different with that spot. That'd be kind of cool. I hadn't thought about that.
That would be really neat.
Yeah, New Orleans Square is going to be pretty cool in a couple years, I think, once it's all said and done. I mean, it's neat now, but...
Yeah, right? With our next trip coming up, it is going to be really, really quiet over in that area past Pirates, because Splash Mountain is still closed and Haunted Mansion is going to close after the holiday season. And it's not going to reopen, well... The thought, I don't think they have posted an official date, at least last time I looked, but the thought is that it might reopen for Nightmare Before Christmas again next year.
Which is crazy that it'll be more than a year before we see the actual original Haunted Mansion again, which is my preferred Haunted Mansion. I really, really enjoy the overlay, but original Haunted Mansion is my favorite.
And then it looks like we walked through Fantasyland to the front of the castle and got pictures. This trip was fun, but I feel like we accomplished nothing.
It was super busy, was part of it. And I think, at least in my mindset, we had so many days that every day I was like, we can take it at a leisurely pace.
Yes. And that was the problem.
That was the problem.
Yeah. Because the 2 years before, when we had gone with the boys, our first day, we got Genie Plus, and it was so packed and we got so much done that the next 4 days, like even California Adventure wasn't as stressful because there's just not as much to do there. But because I packed our first day of Disneyland so much that the next 4 days were kind of like, we can do whatever we want.
I wonder if that's the way to do it.
Got everything done.
Yeah. And that's how the boys enjoy Disneyland, right? Like they like not having to go run around and do stuff. They want to just sit in one spot where they can play. We went to Small World. Did we see any other characters that our oldest tried to get autographs for?
Well, you're skipping things.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Thunder Mountain.
So we went on Thunder Mountain, and then we went and got some snacks because I had not had caffeine that morning yet.
Okay.
And I needed tea. So I got a tea, and then we got the cookies and cream fritters from...
River Bell Terrace?
No, the Royal Street Veranda. And they had a cream cheese frosting dipping sauce, I think. And they were so good. There was 3 of them. So the youngest, Daniel, and I each got one.
We promise we feed our oldest kid. He just doesn't like to eat anything other than Pizza Planet and like tortillas.
He has a gallon-sized bag of snacks in the bottom of the stroller. So every time we sat down... every time we sat down to snack, he would pull that out and be like, can I have my M&Ms and tortilla? Can I have oat squares? Can I have chicken and a biscuit? Can I have fish crackers? So he had plenty of snacks to keep him full. Don't worry. He's a healthy boy. And then we headed to, so it looks like we headed to Small World after that. And again, our oldest was not wanting to go on that ride. So it was like every ride that day, he just did not want to do. Theme of the trip. He heard them singing the Christmas version of It's a Small World. He took his fingers out of his ears and he smiled the rest of the ride.
Yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing.
And so I asked partway through, I said, do you like this? He's like, yeah. And I was like, so it's okay that we came on it? Oh, yeah.
I know. He's being kind of a booger.
So we just try to do we try to do it nicely, but point out of like, see, it was fun. So,
which I'm glad we got on it, because I think this was the trip that I realized and I finalized in my mind that I like the Christmas version of Small World better than the original.
Yes, I could skip the original, except for now I need to go see that clock.
I like it for posterity's sake, but the Christmas one, you've got variety in the music. The costumes and decorations are cool. They even blast scents in different areas, and that's really cool. It makes it just a better experience in my book.
And even your favorite hippo had Christmas lights in his area.
That's right. Yeah, her area.
Oh, it's her.
I don't know, but I always assumed it was until look at the eyelashes. I guess I've got good eyelashes too, though.
Yeah.
So
do our kids.
Sorry, I mean, you've got good eyelashes too. I love your eyelashes.
Uh-huh. Sure. So yeah, we headed out over to Toontown and went on Runaway Railway once again.
Oh.
And I had to get, since I was in my Christmas outfit, I had to get a picture of the Christmas scene there. And I can't remember what the little short is called, but
it's Pluto's Christmas tree or something like that.
Yeah. And it's with the Santa candles on the fireplace. And one of the candles does not have a beard and a Santa hat, and it's on the mantle instead. And that is when the chipmunks had run up there and grabbed the beard and Santa hat to hide from Pluto. So I had to get a picture of that.
Such a good ride. One of the animatronics was broken every time we rode it this trip. Mickey and Minnie driving and then running into the railway sign. They were just stationary the whole time, which we hadn't seen before. Still a great ride.
Yes.
Now, I had that me and the boys went on the Gadget Go Coaster. What was going on here?
Yes. So they went to Goofy's Play Yard for quite a while. And the Lion King show was going to be ending sometime beginning of January. And I have not seen it. And so I really wanted to, and the boys did not want to leave. And so you offered to stay in Toontown with them very nicely. And I went to watch the Lion King show. And then I think you went on the Gadget Go Coaster during that time frame.
Yes. For a pair of very impatient kids, they were just fine with saying, we'll wait in a 40-minute line to go on a 30-second coaster, which I was not thrilled about. But I mean, it's a fun line. We hadn't been on it since it was refurbished, which they really didn't do much to. But it was the funny thing for me. They wanted to ride together, which the two of them had never ridden, just the two of them in a coaster before. And so I sat in the seat in front of them and was able to look back, and they were both just having a blast. And our youngest, I think, was a little bit scared because he's used to having our arms cushion his head on roller coasters.
Yes.
And instead it was
he
just like
does not hold his head still.
Two dodo birds banging heads together.
Well, the picture and the video you have of them, they seem to be having a good time.
Good. Yeah. They like that a lot. If there had not been a line, we probably would have just continually gone on it, because it gave them that, just that feeling of independence again, that they both were sort of really craving this trip. And it's fun. It's fun to go on that one. I think I mentioned it in the Thanksgiving episode, but one of the weird memories that I have from when I was really little was going on that with my grandmother. How was it? So the Lion King show was good.
It was really good.
I didn't get to see it.
Yeah. So I think it's been running for quite a while. Not sure how long. We do not know what is replacing it. They have not announced that yet. So I think the theater is going to be quiet in January when we visit. So we will not have a show to see.
So we must have stopped to get lunch after this. Because what we've done, what I have on our list of entertainment / rides and our list of food, I'm having to play catch up now because I'm certain one of these other ones was later. But we went and got lunch after this, right?
And you could just let me talk if you don't know.
My voice is so important to this show and to the brand.
So we went to the Rancho del Zocalo for lunch. So Daniel and the boys came and found me, and we headed over there. I think at this point there were some attitudes, and not from the children.
Yeah, you were pretty upset about something.
No, wasn't me either.
I got a burrito.
And so we got food and split with our youngest again because their portions are pretty good sized.
Yeah.
And you got the chocolate flan cake.
Yeah, so I got the enchilada plate, which was very, very good. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards for dessert, I got the chocolate flan cake, which was high on my list of things to try. Was it seasonal?
I believe so.
A seasonal thing? Mm-hmm. So essentially it was a chunk of flan on top of a chocolate sponge cake. It was tasty. I enjoyed it. That being said, I probably would have enjoyed just a whole thing of flan better. But it was still good.
I don't remember if I had a bite. I have that's the type of texture
you
that
did. And this is exactly what you said, almost word for word. You said this is not my texture.
Also, side note here, there was a water filling station at Rancho del Zocalo.
Yep.
And like we've said in other things, our kids are really wanting their freedom. But with their age, we can't let them do a whole lot or go many places by themselves because, one, they could be kidnapped is my fear. Two, they have no sense of direction, and I have a feeling they would never find us again.
They'd get lost in the backyard. We have a small yard.
They would not get lost in the backyard. But there was a water filling station, and there was cups, and we had a table near there. And so our oldest was like, "Can I go get water?" And I was like, "Of course you can go get water." And he comes back and is drinking his water, and our youngest is like, "Where do you get water?" I was like, "Well, over there." He's like, "Can I get water?" I'm like, "Of course you can get water." And we didn't walk them over there. We didn't they got to do it. They had a heck of a time figuring out how to turn the water on, but I didn't get up. I just watched them. And people that were over there were kind of like, "Oh, this is how you do it." And it was just like, that's what they needed. They needed that moment of independence of I get to walk over here by myself and do this.
Didn't our youngest fill it to the brim and was walking very, very, very slowly back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he drank it and spilled it all over his, yes. I don't think I got on his shirt, but all over his face. Yeah. So it was just, I was glad to have an opportunity. I know that's a little tiny thing, but in a busy place like Disneyland, it is hard to give your children freedom. And it was nice to be able to do that. And they were just so proud of themselves.
I think that's what we're going to need to do on our next trip too, is find pockets of independence for them. Mm-hmm. We went to Pizza Planet, or did one of us run to Pizza Planet and run back? I don't remember.
I think that was part of the attitude.
Was it? Okay, because our oldest.
Do you want me to leave that out? I'll stop saying it.
What happened? How bad was I? I don't remember. It was all a blur.
You were just really upset that we had to accommodate our oldest and get him Pizza Planet. And I'm thinking, we always do this.
I don't remember that.
And I don't know why it's a problem now. I think we were having a fine time. Now, I had just gone to a show by myself and had 20 minutes of alone time with a show. So that could have been why I was fine.
I think if he can have just a plain piece of cheese pizza, he can handle an entire enchilada plate too. It's practically the same thing.
Okay. And just for reference here, he couldn't even sit at our table to eat his pizza. He had to go to another table because he couldn't see our refried beans.
Listen, 6 days is a long time for a grown-up Daniel too.
Yeah, no, I am well aware that we need break days if we ever try 5 or 6 days again, even 4. Yeah. I think, this next trip, we're technically doing 4.5.
We are staying at the Parkview though.
Yeah.
Which, not that our last hotel was awful, but it was a significant difference that I did not want to go leave the park halfway through to go to the hotel and walk back.
Yeah.
Parkview is going to be a lot easier, a lot more manageable. Oh, we got a cold brew too. It must have been near when we were by Pizza Planet.
You must have grabbed it. I don't remember.
I have chocolate churro, which I know is wrong, but I think it was the churro one because I know we got the churro one 3 times at least. And it's right by Pizza Planet. Okay.
And then we picked up 2 mint juleps at some point. And I showed you the hidden spot behind the, Harbor
Galley?
Harbor Galley. There is a little eating area tucked back there. Usually there's no one there. There was one other family and they happened to leave as we came. And there's 5 or 6 tables and it's just tucked back in there and you can look over the rivers of America. We were still so very full from lunch, but I had mobile ordered and there was no availability to push it back. So we had to pick it up.
One regular mint julep and one huckleberry mint julep.
Yes.
That place is nuts. Not the mint julep bar, but the place you showed me behind the Harbor Galley.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very busy trip in terms of the park being full. There was no one there.
Mm-hmm.
It was quiet.
Yeah.
And it was not like a super small area either. Mm-hmm. That was really cool.
It was made to feel a little bit smaller because they had what is it called? The skirting up. The scrim. The scrim up around the Mark Twain.
Yeah.
So usually it's a little bit more open and you can see more of the rivers of America, but you can still see quite a bit. And yeah, there was like no one back there. And because of where it's at, there's not a lot of noise coming in. So I really like it.
Yeah.
That's my little hideout spot.
After that, our oldest and I decided to do one of the best rides in the park. His first time, my third time doing the canoes. And it was as wonderful as it sounds. I anticipated him not enjoying it, and it turned out he really, really did. Now, if you'd observed him, you might not have realized that in the middle of the ride because he was yelling at the people behind us to stop splashing him. As he's yelling at them, he's swinging his oar and splashing the people in front of him. So as it goes with his personality, I assumed he would be pretty furious about this whole situation. We got off, and instead of like going to look for you or anything, he walked off to go get back in line to the canoes. And unfortunately, we didn't have time to do it a second time this time, but he did. Once he realized he was not doing the canoes again, that's when he decided, nope, I got to have dry clothes then.
Yes. We were waiting to get a picture of the two of you on the canoes. And so we were standing on the bridge below Hungry Bear Restaurant. We're just waiting. And one of the, what do they call them? One of the guides, the plaid vests. She's with this group of people. And there was a person in a scooter. And so she was kind of directing the lady of like, okay, you can back up now. Well, the lady floored it to back up her scooter. And the bridge has like curbing on either side because they don't want stuff rolling down into the water. And so she hits the curb with one of the back wheels and the whole thing starts to flip. Oh, and I'm with our youngest in the stroller and he was trying to fall asleep, but I was like a ways away. And so the lady in the plaid vest is like trying to keep it from flipping. And the rest of the family was like oblivious that this was happening.
They tipped her well.
And so the lady was a little older. I would guess like maybe early 70s, probably later 60s. But like she couldn't keep it from tipping. So like she's trying to put her foot down to keep it from tipping, but I think she was still pressing on the power pedal. So it was still trying to go backwards into the curb. And I was kind of do I need to run over there or is the family going to notice what's going on? And so the family finally like looked around because I don't know if they were looking at something.
Sure.
But they finally turned and looked at her and were like, oh, and so help pull it down. But I think her foot was still on the pedal. And so they were having a hard time getting it off the curb. And I almost witnessed someone getting rolled over by a scooter in Disneyland.
What a day.
Yeah. I was just like I kind of froze because I was like, do I run? Do I like I don't know what to do right now. Like I've never seen anything like this happen.
Well, Disneyland really is magical then. You see things that you haven't experienced before.
And then we got a picture of Daniel and our oldest, and then our youngest and he was in the stroller, and I think I put my Spirit jersey or something over the front of the stroller to try to give him a darker space to fall asleep, which did not work. And then we walked around Pooh Corner.
Gross.
And he did not fall asleep, and we came back and found Daniel, and they wanted to do that again, the canoes again, but we had a lightning lane for the Haunted Mansion, which was, as we said earlier, the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
So the boys had not been on that yet. Daniel and I had gone on that in September, but we wanted the boys to experience it too, even though they hate that ride.
I don't get why
but
they hate it.
It's different. I don't think it's as scary during Christmas. So they agreed to go. And I would say our oldest is a little bit more agreeable to scarier things now.
He also kind of likes Nightmare Before Christmas, despite not wanting to finish the movie with me. But I think that was more because he got bored than anything else. So like he knew some of the characters. Has a pretty big fascination with Oogie Boogie for some reason.
And then we must have had a lightning lane for Indiana Jones.
Yes, we had to rush right over there. They were pretty close to each other. That's what it was.
Right. That's right. So that's why you couldn't do the canoes, because we had back-to-back lightning lanes, and we had to make sure to hit them both.
And it had been a while for us since we'd been on Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Our youngest had never been on it, and our oldest had been on it and enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. They updated some of the special effects because we hadn't been on it since they did the refurb, the snakes back and moving and stuff, so that's cool. Our youngest did not particularly enjoy it. He was using my hand to cover his eyes through most of the ride, and I tried to take my hand off during the non-scary-ish parts. I was like, look. He grabbed my hand and put it in front of his eyes. And so I'm trying to do the dad thing of like, hey, that was fun, right? Afterwards, as we're walking through, and he's got his arms crossed, his brow furrowed. I was like, it was fun, right? He's all, I hate that ride. He was finally tall enough to go on it. I don't know when he'll go on it again, though.
Yeah, probably not for a while if he's anything like me. I don't like that ride, so him and I will go find food to eat.
Oh, and then we booked it straight out of Indiana Jones, remember?
Yes, to the parade, because we did not want to miss the Christmas parade. And thankfully, so Main Street wraps around the partner statue. Mm-hmm. But the parade only goes on one side of that loop. So the other side of the loop is open. And people don't really they weren't filling in the road right there. So we got there, and I think the parade started like 3:30 or something. And so we got there, and the parade was coming from Small World. So it hadn't quite arrived, but that area was not packed yet, like everywhere else. Uh-huh. And so we were able to put the boys on our shoulders so that they could see over the people in front of us, but we weren't blocking anyone, which is, I'm always like, I don't want to put them on my shoulders because I don't want to inconvenience someone else. But there was no one behind us until a little bit later. But I'm like, well, you can see our kids are on our shoulders already. Yeah. So we got to the parade too. We
were all pretty darn tired by this point. And I can see that I've left something off the very bottom of my list, but we'll get to that. And so I must have been too tired to write it down. But I have that, and I was trying to figure out what this says, but do you remember James gave us a lightning lane?
Did that happen now?
I don't know. That's the next thing I've written on my list. Yes. My notes were getting a little sloppy.
Our youngest and I went to the Jolly Holiday and got treats.
We split up. That's why I've got.
And you went to the Matterhorn because we had a lightning lane for it with our oldest, and the youngest did not want to go on it. So I said, okay, well, I'll go get the treats with him. You go on the Matterhorn, and then we'll meet back up. So you did that. You came back. We were going to eat the treats, or we were starting to eat the treats, and we were talking, and James came over and said, we are doing a special thing right now. Do you know what's significant about December 5th? And I was like, well, it probably has something to do with Disney. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, so they're going to ask you a question over there of what's the significance of December 5th? And you need to say it's Walt's birthday. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, it just sort of came up out of nowhere and started talking to us. Like, all right.
And so we walk around, and there was some cast members standing in like that center area by the partner statue, and it was like the outer sidewalk. And so we walked over there, and she's like, oh, I see my friend James was talking to you. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, so do you know what's significant about December 5th? And I said, it's Walt Disney's birthday. And she said, yes, it is. Here are 4 lightning lanes to Runaway Railway. And I was like, oh, wow. Because we had used our lightning lane on it that morning. So we didn't have it anymore. Yeah. So they were just handing out lightning lanes for certain rides. And so
that's really cool.
We got that.
Yeah.
Sadly, we did not get to use them. So more on that later. But at this point, it was probably like 4-ish. And our youngest, he had tried a nap earlier. It did not work out. Mm-hmm. And I could tell that he was not going to make it to the fireworks. And I really wanted to make it to the fireworks. So I headed back to the hotel with him to give him a nap. And Daniel stayed with our oldest to ride some more rides because our oldest was like, I don't need a nap. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I really had wanted to see the lighting of Small World, and that had not happened. So I texted Daniel and I said, can you go video the lighting of Small World for me? So at this point, it's actually like 5 something. And so Daniel ran over there.
Yep. So we went, and our oldest and I got in line to watch the lighting. It was really cool. He, because he's smaller than me, obviously ran sort of the front of the line. I told him he could stand up against the rope there and get a better view. And he started talking to the family that was next to him, and I think yelling at them about something. Excitedly, not upset at them, but he was just very excited and then started dancing, and they were looking down at him, looking back at me, giving me a thumbs up like he's fine, but he was definitely getting in their space. So we saw that, recorded it. That was really cool. And you caught the tree lighting on the way out though?
I did.
Okay.
Yep. So I got to see the tree lighting one more time as we were leaving for nap time at 5:00.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really pretty because they play a little bit of music and you do a countdown and then the whole tree lights up and so does the garland.
At this point, our oldest wanted to do Autopia, which I know is not your favorite ride. So it worked out. And he wanted his independence. He was tall enough to have his own car. And I said, great, you can drive me around. And he said, no, you get in your car. I want to drive by myself. I'm like, great, okay. So we did that, and he had an absolute blast. Loved it so much, he immediately wanted to go do it again. And so we did. We got back in line. Weirdly, the line for Autopia was not super short. It was like a 15, 20-minute wait. I guess it fluctuates, but
Yeah.
I was surprised at this point that it was that long. So we went on it again. He was driving in front of me. I accidentally slammed into him once because I wasn't paying attention, and he had stopped for some reason. He's going, and then in front of us, there's a car that's broken down, and we were stuck in one spot probably for a good 5 to 6 minutes as we're waiting for someone to notice us. And so there's a car broken down in front of us, and he's again yelling at the person. And I was like, he can't do anything about it. Just leave him alone. And I had to yell. I don't know for sure if he was trying to, but he was definitely at least trying to get a better look. But I thought he was trying to get out of his car to go confront the situation. I had to yell at him to sit down. But they pushed him through, and we got back to where we needed to go. And then he wanted to head out onto the Millennium Falcon ride again. So we made it to Galaxy's Edge. For the third time this trip, I was a gunner on the Millennium Falcon.
Your favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a fun ride, but that's my least favorite position in it.
Yeah.
But that's what we did. And then at this point, we must have met back up with you at some point.
Yeah. So at this point, I think it was around like 7:30 that we came back into the park. It might have been 7. And so our youngest and I had not eaten dinner, and we needed to figure out dinner. And I was planning to do the Plaza Inn and get the chicken dinner.
Yeah.
There must have been a special meal for the fireworks show.
Oh.
Because the line for Plaza Inn was way outside the building.
Yeah.
And it like wrapped around the side, like towards the bathroom. So I was like, never mind. I won't be doing a chicken dinner like I had hoped, because I was like, this would be a perfect meal to split. Daniel can eat our leftovers.
Oh, I ate a Ronto wrap too afterwards, after the Millennium Falcon.
And our oldest had pizza.
Pizza Planet. Slice of cheese from Pizza Planet.
And so then the youngest and I headed back to Pizza Planet too, because they had a pasta there that he really enjoyed.
Pasuli.
And I think I ate breadsticks. I didn't eat a whole lot at that point.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like, I was really hoping for chicken, and there is no chicken. And so we ate there, and it might have been 8:30 actually.
Did we get no Plaza Inn chicken and no Impossible chicken
Impossible chicken? Not so
Pim's,
little
like,
chicken
not so little
sandwich.
chicken we got none of our.
Did not.
We didn't get our favorite chicken dishes.
We did not. So it was like 8:00 or something when we got back into Disneyland, the youngest and I. Fireworks start at 9. And so we ate, and then we headed over to the fireworks to stand and wait. And we got an okay spot. It was like the end of the buildings on Main Street. So if we wanted to look back and see the projections on the buildings, we could, and we could look forward to the castle.
Yeah.
Somewhere along our trip, our oldest does not like loud noises. And so we have
Ear guards
for him. And somewhere along our trip, they disappeared. No idea how. So he did not have them, and he was really upset. And so Daniel was like, here, play Cat Lady on my phone. And he sat down in the stroller with Cat Lady and ignored the entire fireworks show as if nothing was happening.
All, not in the least.
And I was like, okay, distractions really help
therapy.
With loud noises.
Yeah.
So our youngest, Daniel, held him, so he got to see it. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. And it was just fun. It was Christmassy.
Yep.
The castle is all lit up with all of its icicles. So just really pretty. It's one of those magical moments for me. And that day had been a bit rough.
Yeah.
And that just kind of made everything wonderful. So.
And then we went to Space Mountain.
And that magic
spewed all over the place. It was actually one of the first lightning lanes we reserved for the day was Space Mountain, but because of how crowded it was, and by the time we got Genie Plus, it wasn't until like 9:30 or something when we could go and redeem it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what we did. We went to Space Mountain. It's a ride that all of us really enjoy. We went on it. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a little intense for our youngest.
So we pull back in after the ride, and all the cast members are like pointing at us and like gesturing, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And Daniel's sitting next to our youngest. I had our oldest, and we get out, and I go, "Daniel, what's wrong?" He's like, "Oh, he's fine. I think he just got a little scared or something."
Probably accurate.
And I was just like, "Oh, okay." And we're going up the stairs. The oldest and I are up ahead of Daniel and our youngest, and all of a sudden I hear Shannon, and I'm like, "What is happening?" And I turn around, and Daniel has our youngest just pressed up against it. He's like, he's throwing up. And I'm like,
and now, listen.
What are you doing?
My instincts kicked in. Our oldest has had some swallowing issues, some different medical issues his whole life. And for the first 3-4 years of his life, I trained myself, you catch the vomit. You don't let it hit the carpet. Well, our youngest started throwing up. And so I thought, no, I can't let it get on the floor at Disneyland. I've got to catch it in my $79 Spirit jersey. And so I did that. That's all. My training kicked in.
And so I am trying to pry him away from Daniel. And Daniel's like, but I can't get it on the floor. And I'm like, Daniel, let it fall
apparently,
on the floor.
Apparently I was a little traumatized from years prior.
And I felt so bad
idea.
for our youngest because Daniel has this death grip on him and is smashing his throat, his face that's throwing up into his shoulder.
I was holding him.
You were. So anyway, I got him out of Daniel's hands so he could throw up on the floor. And I felt so bad for him. Thankfully, our oldest, he's oblivious to everything and had just continued to exit the ride.
He just left. Just kept walking.
So Daniel is covered in pasta.
Pasta fasulli.
Our youngest, I felt so bad for him because
he wasn't crying. He doesn't throw up much.
No.
So he wasn't crying.
No.
He wasn't like freaking out or anything. He was standing there, just throw up on his front. He's just sort of looking down and he says, "This is the worst day of my life." Very somberly.
He's very matter of fact.
Yes. He's this weird mix of like melodramatic, but also just matter of fact.
Yeah.
So, well, sure, it wasn't the worst day of his life. In that moment it was, and he let us know.
And it was interesting because that was a more extreme moment happening. And he remained very calm, whereas where like other things with him can kind of not go right. And it's like everything just falls apart.
Yeah.
Like he just falls apart. And so it was really interesting to see him just hold himself together. And I was like,
standing there.
Oh, okay.
It was just like, this is something that happened and I don't approve of it. And this is the worst day of my life. Thank you.
So I exit the ride to go find a cast member to tell them what happened. And like, I'm standing there and like no cast member will look at me. And I'm kind of like,
why would they? Yuck.
Well, I had no puke on me. I was clean. And like, they're just like busy doing their own thing. And I'm like, excuse me, like, can I have some help? And like, there's just nothing.
Yeah,
and I was like,
weird.
So I went over to another one and that was at a, like behind the counter, the picture counter. And I was like waiting because they were helping someone. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but my kid just puked in the hallway. So like, I can't keep waiting. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I need a couple plastic bags and you need to send someone down there to clean it up. And so then I go back to another cast member. I don't even know what they were doing, but they had a group of people that kept coming up to them. And I'm like, can you just let me talk to them? And I was like, my son puked in the hallway and it needs to be cleaned. So then I go to the bathroom to go get some paper towels to help clean him up. I find our oldest and he's coming out of the men's bathroom. And I was like, oh, there you are. And he's like, yeah, I had to go to the bathroom. I'm like, good. I need you to go sit on that bench. Okay. And I was like, did you see anything that happened? He goes, no. I'm like, okay.
I had no idea the horrors that had happened.
No. I was like, go sit there. Do not move. So I go back to Daniel and our youngest with paper towels and just clean him up and Daniel up. I'm leaving the floor. People are exiting and like getting grossed out. And I'm just like, I don't even care about you. I am concerned about our son right now. I always pack an extra pair of clothes for our kids. So earlier when our oldest had gotten wet on the canoes, I had changed his entire outfit. So we take our youngest back to the stroller and I change his entire outfit. However, I never have extra sweatshirts and it's like 9:30 at night. I mean, a little bit after. So it's cold. And there was a red Christmas sweatshirt in what is that name?
Star Trader.
Star Trader. And red is his favorite color. And I had loved the print on it. And so I just like disappeared. I didn't even tell Daniel. Like Daniel's changing him and I just disappear and I come back with the sweatshirt. Our youngest is standing there in a t-shirt and he's just like, I'm cold. And I pull out this sweatshirt. And he's like, is that for me? And I was like, I hope this will
the best
make
day of
your
my life.
night a little bit better. And so, yeah. And we only had the backup clothes were shorts. So, I mean, it's still like 60, but it had been 75 that day. So it was, and when you've just thrown up, yeah. So I felt really bad for him. But I think he was very happy that he got a brand new sweatshirt. And it's red. And he loved it. And then Daniel took him back to the hotel, rinsed out all the clothes and both their shoes. So now Daniel knows you don't catch the puke.
6 out of our 12 listeners turned this podcast off 5 minutes ago. For sure.
So to go back to the last podcast that we had, and Daniel was having me list my favorite rides. The reason that I had referenced that Space Mountain is no longer on my favorite list is because of this happening. So because I know that our youngest will probably not go on it for a long time. So I will not be going on it with him. We will avoid it in solidarity.
Well, that was it. That was our last day, but we did have one more thing. I guess
No,
that wasn't it. That was the last thing for me, I guess.
Yes, and
what was the rest of your day? How was your evening?
So I finally got dinner.
What'd you get? I have no idea what happened at this point.
At 10 o'clock at night, I finally had dinner of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. So that is how I like to end my evening. And then I got the Mickey ornament macaron and the raspberry rose macaron. And those were to take home to enjoy later that Daniel then left at the airport.
We don't know who we're talking about. I thought we said the TSA agents ate it. If you listen back to the episode.
So, but our oldest and I had a fun time doing that. I feel like we did one more thing together, but I don't remember what now.
Because we thought
about running to Runaway Railway, and I think we were both just too tired to go all the way back there.
Yeah.
So I cannot recall. You know what? I think we went and did Thunder Mountain.
Did you buy the ornaments then?
Yes. Yep. Okay. So we went and did Thunder Mountain Railroad and we bought our ornaments. Our oldest really wanted the wish ornament and it lights up, which is really cool. And then Magic Journeys on one of their YouTube videos had shown an ornament that they had bought and we had loved it. And so it has the castle, the Ferris wheel, Matterhorn, and one other thing.
Does it have Carthay Circle or Carthay?
It might be Carthay Circle. And it has a little light up thing as well. And I think Tinkerbell's in there. And it's really pretty. And we get an ornament for each person every year to add to our tree. And so that was Daniel's ornament this year.
Yeah, I love it.
And so we had fun getting those ornaments. And then we went on Thunder Mountain and then we headed back to the hotel. Daniel had cleaned up the whole mess and our youngest was all clean. He'd had a shower. So he was all clean in PJs, comfy in his bed.
Yeah.
So I think he was having tablet time too.
Yeah, he started playing Minecraft, I think.
Yeah.
Which he was
try to sweeten his evening just a little bit. It was a very interesting end to that trip, but overall we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think we've got a little bit of time to quickly go over
the next morning.
Kitchen. Yeah. Which was the nice end cap. I think that sort of tied things together. We decided to do character dining originally before we had to move our trip. We had planned to do the Plaza Inn character breakfast. We switched gears when we switched our trip and did Goofy's Kitchen, which I've never experienced. None of us had experienced it. Yeah. So, and this is a buffet that is inside the Disneyland hotel, so you don't have to have Disneyland tickets necessarily to go. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And it was Christmas themed. Was this the first year they had done that?
I think this was the first year they did it because I think this year was also the first year they did a Halloween themed Goofy's Kitchen.
Okay.
And so maybe they're just doing seasonal ones now as well, which was pretty cool. So we got to get in line and we met Goofy, who's the chef, and you get to get a nice picture taken with him in his kitchen, and it was all decked out in Christmas gear. And then we went and sat down, and it was a buffet with a lot of food geared towards kids and a lot of food geared towards adults. So it was accommodating to a lot of different taste preferences. Like we were there for breakfast and our oldest was able to have bland mac and cheese and chicken strips, which expensive chicken strips when you're going to something like that, but at least he was going to eat something.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And our youngest loved the fact that he could kind of peruse the buffet and get what he wanted. And I liked the food too. It was good.
Yeah. And there's a total of 5 characters that we got to meet.
Yep.
So Chip and Dale are there. Then we saw Goofy at the beginning, Pluto, and Minnie.
Yeah.
So, and each of the characters, except Goofy, because you see him at the beginning, but the other 4 characters all come to your table at some point throughout your meal. And we had Dale first, and he was so great. He was so great. He was messing with our oldest with his autograph book and like writing with a pen the wrong way and then turning the book upside down and just all these things. And our oldest was like, no, it's like this. No, it's like this. And trying to correct him. And then Dale went and handed the book to another table. And so our oldest got up to go get his book. And so then Dale sat in his seat next to me. And our oldest comes back and he's like, what? And so then every character that came to our table after that, our oldest had to explain what Dale did. But it's just like food is hard for him. And so he was not thrilled about the buffet. Yeah. But because of that interaction with Dale, it made his day. He tried the mac and cheese. He ate all his chicken strips. Yeah. Like that interaction made the whole meal so much easier.
Yeah, dining with him is not easy, especially when we're going to a restaurant that he's not familiar with or that might not have his offerings. And it was smooth sailing. He really enjoyed that whole experience.
Yep.
Our youngest was still not a huge fan of the characters, but he did want to see Minnie when she came out. Minnie's his favorite.
Yes, Minnie is still his favorite.
Yeah.
So he gave her a big hug during the pictures.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yep. So it's pricey, but the experience you get, I would say it's worth the cost.
Yeah, that was really cool to be able to do. And I'm looking forward to doing more character dining in the future at some point. Yeah,
okay.
That's it. That's our recap of our Disney trip. We're going to be talking about Universal Studios at some point. And then, believe it or not, we're heading back to Disneyland and Universal Studios again. And we'll talk about that. In the meantime, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, X. I don't do a great job of posting on all those, but we're technically all there. At OfMiceandMatterhorns or on X/Twitter at MiceMatterhorns. Feel free to send us an email. We love questions, suggestions. We don't have questions, which is why we haven't been answering any. So please, if you have any, send it in to us. It gives us some fun discussion topics that we can talk about. So ofmiceandmatterhorns@gmail.com. We will get this up and running. We're shooting for every other Friday on this. Our schedules are crazy.
This is going to be, we're going to have 2 episodes drop probably
this week.
And we're going to have one next week because we missed our normal schedule of last week. And so then this week was the extra one.
We'll get better at it in the future, maybe. Maybe not, though.
The holidays make it challenging, but yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. And as always,
have a Disney day.
Your attention, please. Of Mice and Matterhorns has now ended its normal operating episode. We thank you for your visit to our podcast and hope that the memories that you made will bring you back soon.